Andy.
Dude, sorry about the wrong number. I don't know why I put 616. What world am I living in?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even notice that, and then when I called, it said this is not a working number. I looked back at the number. I was like, it's got to be 615. I'm just going to try that.
my new show up in Philadelphia now. You're actually calling into that one, but it's good to have you on, man.
Great. Congrats, man.
Dude, first things first, I wanted to say congrats on Moonshot, the new Lisa Memory record. It is amazing. It's probably my favorite record of 2020, man. You guys knocked it out of the park. How does it feel to be a part of such a rad record? Because I know you're a fan of John. Obviously, you're friends, but like John Davis's songwriting just gets better and better with time.
Or if you knew this or not, but I actually don't play on the record.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Is it because of the whole coronavirus thing, or just it was already done?
No, in general, like ever since John asked me to play in the live version of the band,
yeah,
they've always recorded just the three of them, just Brandon, John, and Nick.
Well, dude, I had no idea, and thank God this is not a live interview.
I know, right?
But I will say, I did love the video for Lonely Everywhere, how it was showing all you guys kind of doing your thing, and you were at your place looking through your record collection. That's pretty spot on from what I judge by what I see on your Instagram page. Is that how you would spend your day normally?
100%, yeah. I've been collecting records for like, I don't know, a little over 20 years now, and yeah, and knowing how much John Davis loves vinyl and stuff, I thought it'd be funny because, you know, the parts I play in that song live and for the video, I don't come in until like the second verse. So I just thought it'd be kind of funny to, and it's kind of a bit of an Easter egg because I was looking at a Charlie Pride record and John's a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the guy that got me into Charlie Pride. So I thought it'd be a fun little Easter egg to throw that in the video before I started playing the part.
That is amazing. How many records do you own? Like, do you have an idea of what vinyl amount you have right now?
Yeah, well, thanks to Discogs, I have the Discogs app and I use it online too on like my Mac. But yeah, I've got everything cataloged perfectly. I even redid my entire collection last year. I mean, it's not insane. There's people that have thousands and thousands of records. I'm like a little over 700.
Okay, that's still a lot though, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's one of those things like, you know, as much as I tour, or let's say used to tour at this point,
yeah,
you know, that's one of my go-to things to do on the road. Like whether it's on a day off or in between a sound check and show time, it's like I go find record stores and just pick stuff up around the country.
Yeah, that is kind of one of the best parts of touring. I remember being in Toronto years ago, and a lot of my favorite bands are Canadian because I grew up with Much Music instead of MTV, just because my parents just had that for some reason. But I was in this record store, and I own probably like maybe 25 vinyl. They're usually just like record store day releases or albums I just really love. But I was walking through this record store, and they had my favorite Matthew Good Band record next to my favorite Tragically Hip record that you can't get in the States, at least not these versions. Man, I dropped so much money. My whole per diem was gone, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it in that sense.
I always joke that on tour, per diem is basically for vinyl and food, and that's about it.
It really is. And back in the old days, it was for vodka and trying to impress girls. Now it's for records and food. It's true.
Right.
It's so true.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I've had it for years. It's like one of those, like, it looks like a road case. It's like a DJ case that, you know, DJs to take their gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
I just take that on the road now, and my goal every tour is to fill it up because it holds about, I don't know, 40, 50 records.
That's amazing. I love that. Right on, man. So how have you been doing not being able to tour? I mean, this has been – actually, I had John from Lisa Memory on my show earlier in the year, and we talked about how it was ironic because he wanted to play shows this year when normally he doesn't. Now he's not allowed to. How has it been for you? Like, how's it been for you? Like,
sure.
It's been a trip not being able to play.
It's really weird, man. You know, and you know, I kind of split my time between like playing for artists as like an auxiliary musician or going out as a guitar or drum set. So the last thing I was doing before all the really before the tornado happened and then all the COVID lockdown stuff happened, I was drum teching for Brandy Carlisle's drummer, Chris Powell, who lives here, and yeah, my last three shows were in the end of February, and then I started working for Kings of Leon again, and we did about 2 rehearsals, and then the tornado hit, and it hit my street like 5 houses away from us.
Oh wow.
And so we had a lot of cleanup going on, and our house was fine, but we just didn't have power for 9 days, and we had like property damage, not structural damage. And so, you know, they canceled some dates in the studio, and then all of a sudden COVID happens, and then like my schedule keeps getting pushed back, and then usually by about April, that's when I found out my entire year was canceled.
Yeah. Man.
So it's definitely weird. This is the longest I've been home in pretty much my whole touring career since I was 18.
Yeah, which is so wild to think, man. It's one of those things where everything just kind of came to a standstill. And I feel like it's interesting with Nashville because we had the tornado, like you said, right before this happened. And so I would go, because I've been working up here through everything, obviously, because I'm alone. I'm just in a glass room. But I would go drive around late at night because I would be going stir crazy, sitting in my house or coming up here. And I would drive through the east side. And I don't think people understand how depressing it would be because it was like a ghost town over there. And it looked like a bomb had gone off or something. Burger Up was gone. And all these places are just leveled. And it was definitely, I think here in Nashville, it was a rough thing right after that to have this happen as well,
Oh, totally, man. Yeah, it was just like this 1-2 punch against the city, and of course, the pandemic's the world. But yeah, it was weird, man. I mean, it hit, and I was still awake, and we took shelter, but I didn't even hear that freight train sound they talk about. And then, we just went outside to check on our property because on the news they said there was a tornado on the ground, and then, that's when I saw like my, this 50, 60 foot tall tree in my backyard that came down, took out my fence, and debris all over my yard and all that stuff. We were fortunate, obviously a lot of people lost the entire house and stuff. So, and we went to go check on our elderly neighbor who we kind of look after. And then we walked down 5 houses from us, and it, like you said, it looked like a bomb went off, man. It was insane. So we started helping people in the middle of the night, and then got an hour's sleep, and then it repeated that every single day for like the next week or two. And then volunteers started showing up a couple of days later and like packing our neighborhood with help and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, I do remember seeing on the east side because I went over that day to help Burger Up, try to get stuff out, which is weird because tornadoes are so strange, man. Like you literally, the building was leveled. And also Mike Grimey from the Basement East, he posted a really interesting picture. It was like the basement is totally, it's split in half, but then the bar is intact and all the vodka bottles and whiskey bottles are intact. So it's weird. Isn't that strange? It's weird how like tornadoes don't really affect things around them, only the thing they're hitting. It's really surreal.
I know. It's crazy, man. Like our neighbors who they own the Wild Cow restaurant here in town.
Yeah.
They no longer live on the street because their house got pretty totaled. But we went to John's house to help him, get sentimental things out of the house and some of his gear and records and things he could salvage. And man, walking through the house, it was like that was the moment where I realized that like the bathroom is not the safe place to go.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, we don't have a basement, so we have a closet next to our bathroom, which is like a central part of our house, and there's no windows or nothing. It's just a little closet we can get in if that happens again. But man, looking at his bathroom, I mean, there was shards of glass 6 inches long that were just stuck in the wall. And I kept thinking, like, man, if that would have hit our house, we were in the bathroom, it's like, glass shower door, big glass mirror, glass window. It's like, that's not a smart thing to do, So
yeah.
We figured that out pretty quick. Maybe we should be in the bathroom.
It's kind of crazy. Like you always are told to go to the bathroom, but you're right. Maybe that's not the safest place to go. It's definitely crazy to see it happen. And I remember that day too, because everyone was banding together. I remember being impressed by the countless people. I just saw, thousands of people almost out there just, fixing, cutting down trees and helping people out. So it was really good to see the city come together, at least for the short time that we all could. And then obviously everything else happened. But,
we went from the entire city coming together to them telling us the entire city needs to stay home and stay apart.
Yeah, it went from let me help you to don't touch me. It was very, very quick.
And really, and the lockdown, I mean, it put all like relief efforts to a halt, So
it really did.
I mean, dude, there's still houses in my neighborhood that still look like the tornado hit yesterday.
Dude, that's kind of the surreal part because I drive through the east side every single day, and I feel like you're right. It makes it feel like time stands still. Like I'm driving through and I know it's October, but when I'm looking around, it feels like early March. It's definitely a surreal kind of vibe, and then obviously to cancel all the relief shows they had scheduled, all the things that were planned, and it has been weird, man. But one thing I will say about 2020 that has been good and has been constant, and I'm thankful for it, is all the good music coming out, especially local bands. Like so many local bands will send me tunes, and they'll be like, should we release this? Things are weird right now, and I'm always glad that they do. And you're definitely one of those guys too, man. This Lockdown EP, when you sent me that, I was floored, man. You picked some really cool songs. Like you literally no one knows this about me, but two of my all-time favorite songs, I kid you not, are Walls by Tom Petty, which is from the She's the One soundtrack, and then Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order. And I saw those both are on this EP. So why these 6 songs? Why did you decide to cover these?
Well, I thought, what are Andy's favorite songs? Maybe I could pick those.
You took a peek at my wish list, didn't you? I knew it.
Man, it actually started as, and I should say too, like a lot of artists and writers, in town. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that thought, okay, this quarantine thing's happening. This is the time to buckle down and start writing some tunes. And I thought the same thing. I thought, man, I'm going to try to be as creative as possible and try to write another record and stuff like that, because I've been slowly working on it. And man, I just hit a brick wall. I couldn't write anything. I don't know if it was just my mind was elsewhere with everything from the tornado to the pandemic and stuff, and not being able to go on the road, and all of a sudden I don't have a job anymore. And so I just started recording cover songs, and it kind of started as this like bonus stuff I do for my podcast, which we've talked about in the past, Metal Free Podcast, the Metallica podcast.
Absolutely.
And so we have a Patreon page, and we give our listeners like all these extra things, you know, just so because they're financially contributing to the show. And so we were just doing these quarantine covers, and they were pretty just simple. Like the version of the EP that's the final one that I sent you, I added like way more stuff, like horns and backup vocals, more organs and guitars and stuff. So it kind of started like that, and then so I just. Some of the songs were like suggestions from listeners of our show, and then a couple of them were just like, man, I just really love that song, and I would love to hear a reggae version of it. And so I just was like, well, I'll just make one. And I wasn't planning on releasing it. And then once I started adding more stuff and getting some of the guys, you know, that played on my last record to play horns on it, like, and all of it was done remotely too, which was cool. Or with the exception of just the backup vocals, because my friend didn't have a recording set up. But yeah, so I had people just that I know that I used to be in bands with or whatever, like contribute to it remotely and send me the tracks. So I pieced it all together at home and then sent it to my buddy Nathan Thomas to mix. And here and I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and release this thing.
Yeah. No, and it's amazing, and it's a good like eclectic, different like types of band, like songs you covered, and I like how you did a lot of them reggae. Like when I first heard the Bizarre Love Triangle in reggae, I was like, this is so Ethan Luck and so cool at the same time.
It works.
Yeah, it really does, man. And how's the response been? Because it came out on Friday, right?
No, it comes out this Friday.
Oh, it comes out this Friday. Okay, cool. So how's the response been from people that have heard it so far since it comes out this Friday?
I've sent it around to, you know, obviously everyone played on it and a couple of friends and stuff, and people seem really stoked on it, man. I mean, I don't know if it's just the enthusiasm of just having some kind of new music out there, or maybe they like the original versions of the songs or what. But yeah, people seem really stoked on it, man. You know, and I thought even the artwork came out cool. My buddy Austin Cox did all the artwork for the cover, and it's just a random photo that I took when I landed at LAX, and I was at In-N-Out Burger. And the palm tree looked cool, and then there was a plane flying over. And that's like a 6-year-old photo or something like that. But I thought it looked cool for the EP.
Yeah, I love when that happens. You just take a really cool picture, like I'm going to use that for something. That's amazing. Have you seen? Speaking of New Order, have you seen that documentary on YouTube? I don't know if you've seen that. I watched it one night. It's some documentary. It's from the early '90s, and it's about there's just New Order going through like their history and their life. At the time, and it's so funny, man, that band, because like obviously, you know, Joy Division and the tragic passing of their lead singer committing suicide, and it's like it has the lead singer of New Order, you know, who played guitar in Joy Division, and he's like, well, I guess I could maybe sing and write songs. It's like he guesses, and then he writes Bizarre Love Triangle and Blue Monday. It's like that dude was holding out.
What's funny is like I you know, when I was younger, I'm about to be 42, and so I remember New Order, you know, as a kid, as, you know, not a kid, but, you know, being younger. And I remember hearing those songs on the radio, but I never really got into it because I was already into like metal and punk rock and stuff like that. And it wasn't until it was like, what was that band called? They were called Frente. They were like Danish or Finnish or something.
Yeah.
And they did a really chill acoustic cover of Bizarre Love Triangle. And that's what made me kind of go back and get into New Order. And so I've just always loved that. I know it's like they're one of their biggest hits, and I'm like, I don't care. It's one of my favorite songs. Yeah,
absolutely, man. They're one of those bands, like I just feel like they're if you really dive deep into them, they're just kind of cooler and cooler. Dude, it's Halloween time, and the last, I think it was I guess 2 Halloweens ago, you were my special Halloween guest on Halloween.
Yeah.
And you introduced me to the band The Wanderers. Like you literally just told me I should check out this band called Wanderers.
Yeah,
and it's
Zach
funny.
Ryan.
Yeah, Zach, man. And it's funny because they've quickly, over the last like year and a half, he's become one of my favorite bands to play because he was doing these like quarantine singles where he put out a single every single week, and every single song was amazing. But he recently moved to Vegas. We lost him to Las Vegas. I was definitely sad to see that go.
I know, man. I haven't seen Zach in person in a while, and I didn't really quite put it together. I thought he was just doing like a road trip with a friend or something, and then I was like, oh wait, I think he moved there. But he's been kind of tapped into that city and stuff, like doing cover performances where sometimes he'll actually play a different character, like a Tom Petty or whatever, and do all Petty covers or Roy Orbison or whatever. But
That's
he's
awesome.
such a talented dude and such a great writer.
He really is, man. And I thought the same thing. I thought he was just on a trip. It was like he did what like your ex-girlfriend does, where she posts pictures of a new guy who's just a friend until finally she says it's my new boyfriend. Like he did that. Right. He's like on a trip. I live here. But I still play him on the show because those songs are still local to me, you know.
Absolutely, man. No, and his sound in that band has changed a little bit, but I mean I think for the good too. I mean, all the stuff he posts, I really dig. He's such a good writer, man, and I wish I could pump out a song once a week. That would be awesome.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I was every time he'd send me something, I expected there to be, rightfully so, like a filler song. But every single time, I was like, man, if I could make you Buzzcut of the Week every week, I would. It was definitely. Dude,
if I could write a good quality song once a week, I would put out 2 records a year at least.
Oh, dude, totally same.
I'm such a slow writer, man. I try every day. I try. And it's for me. It's lyrics that always take the longest, just because. Most of my touring career, I've always been the guitar player or the drummer, never was the lead singer until I started doing solo stuff like 7 years ago. And so yeah, lyrics always take me the longest, or there's guys like John Davis that'll like go mow the lawn and hear a song in his head, and 2 hours later he's got demoed and it's awesome,
Yeah. No, I was talking to Mike Purcell today. I was over at County Q, and he was telling me that John's got something and he's coming in to lay down a new lead song. And I was like, man, they just put out Moonshot. I love how he's just going and going. I love that.
I know, dude. I mean, I was at his house the other day. My other solo podcast I do called The Pirate Satellite. I had John and Nick Raskulenix on to talk about the 20-year anniversary of In the Valley Dying Stars.
Oh, great record.
So we did a whole episode just about that record, and Nick was kind of, because John finally got like a little Pro Tools rig, and so Nick was kind of helping him with some shortcuts and whatnot. And John was like, yeah, I got this song in my head. I got to get out. And then literally like, I don't know, a day or two later, he like sends me the song. He's like, here you go. And even the little that he knows about Pro Tools, he's just diving into it. I'm like, of course it already sounds great,
Dude, that is amazing. That's so him. That is so funny.
Yeah, totally is.
Well, dude, I love having you on the show. It's always a blast. And since it is close to Halloween time, I do have one Halloween question for you. If you don't mind, it's a spooky Halloween question. Are you ready for this?
I love it. Let's do it.
All right, let me get my Halloween music going, make it nice and scary. All right, so Ethan Luck, Halloween question. What is one thing about Halloween that you don't really dig that everyone else seems to really dig? Last week, my example was candy corn. This week, I don't really like candy corn, but this week, my example, I'm going to say the song Thriller. I just don't get all that excited when I hear it come on. Maybe it's just overplayed to me, but I feel like I'm crazy because I don't really dig Thriller when everyone else does. What is something about Halloween that everyone else loves that you're just kind of like, I don't really get it?
I'm going to go in the same vein as you, and like a Halloween song that people love to play, whether at home, on the radio, whatever. I can't stand the song Monster Mash.
Dude, I was just thinking the same thing.
It just drives me crazy, man. I don't know what it is. It's like, maybe it's the part where it's like, Graveyard Smash or whatever. Like,
yeah.
When it comes on the radio, I'm like, oh my God. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of like hearing Baby It's Cold Outside or Santa Baby at Christmas time. I'm like, no, I'm done with this song. But
yeah.
But speaking of Halloween music and vinyl, about a year and a half ago I was on tour, I found on vinyl, it's called like the chilling sounds of the haunted house. It's like an old Disney record from the 60s.
Oh, no way.
It's really cool. It's like a lot of like sound effects and just creepy sounds, and yeah, it's really fun. So I've been putting that one on since October started here.
See, that's something Halloweenish I can get behind, and I think you're right. When it comes to like my Halloween playlist I make every year, it's more just songs that have like a vibe more so than lyrics, like such as Monster Mash or things like that.
Right.
So I think you're totally right. And I recall seeing a school play when I was like in third grade, man. And I remember it was a Halloween time and they started singing the Monster Mash and I went to the bathroom. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And I was like 8 years old. I was already over it then. So I totally...
I feel the same way, because they're very similar in style to Crocodile Rock.
Yeah, that's
Elton John. I love Elton John. He's incredible. But like that one song, I'm just like, oh, I don't like this tune.
Yeah, that's the bathroom and beer break song at the show for sure.
Right.
Well, Ethan, go check out the brand new EP. Comes out this Friday, the Lockdown EP, 6 Red covers that he's done recently. And dude, hopefully once things get back to normal, man, I can start having guests in and we can actually hang again. It's been so long, but it's good to hear your voice, and I appreciate you joining me, man, because it's been way too long.
Man, I literally drove past the Buzz studio this morning. And me and 2 friends went and camped out on Bear Island on Percy Priest Lake. We're like, this is pretty socially distant, right? We're on an island by ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we were driving back, we drove right past the studio, and it was me and Jack O'Shea were in the car together, and we drove by. We're like, "Hey, Andy,"
because I do basically live up here. I have for quite a while now, so I love that. I probably saw you guys. I probably went back.
You probably did.
Well, dude, I hope you stay safe, man, and tell everyone I said what's up. And seriously, once things get back to normal, let's hang out.
I'd love to, man.
Awesome, man. Well, Ethan Luck, I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good, buddy.